Good morning, everybody. This is Deuster with Cryptids and Critters Paranormal. Today is November 24th, 2023, the day after Thanksgiving, and I hope each and every one of you had a happy holiday. What I want to share with you today is from my True Ghost Stories collection. It is in my book, Ghostly Whispers. The book is available on Amazon. It is also available for me. If you want one, you can send me an email, and I can get you a signed copy to you. I call this story "The Old House at the End of the Lane." Back when I was young and was able to get out and do a whole lot of rambling and everything, my brother Terry and we would get out and just roam the country and just find these old home sites and just wander up and down the creek and in through the woods, and we spent a lot of time outdoors. And if the weather was fitting, we were outdoors either playing or exploring. And even if it snowed or whatever, we'd still get out and walk in the snow and go have a few adventures in the snow. But like I said, this is one of our experiences we had, and I call this one "The Old House at the End of the Lane." From the looks of it, the old house had not been lived in for many years, at least not by humans. The old clapboard siding was completely devoid of any paint and had weathered to a dull gray color. Owing to its secluded location, very few people even knew of its existence. And had Terry and I had not gone exploring that day, we probably wouldn't have known about it either. It sat at the end of an old overgrown lane that we had discovered by accident a few years earlier. Along the lane were remnants of several old demolished and abandoned moonshine stills, and these were the intents of our explorations that day. While we wandered further down the lane, I can't honestly say. Maybe it was just a boy's curiosity, or maybe it was just fate that caused us to wander down the lane. It was apparent that no one had traveled it upon many years. As we wandered down the lane, we found several things like a couple of young country boys could define as highly intriguing. An old dilapidated barn, an old McCormick wheat binder, and a Dodge truck that rust had all but consumed. Honeysuckle vines and poison ivy had all but taken over all three of them. The lane seemed to be headed in the direction of Beaver Dam Creek, and this was a portion of the creek that we had never explored. This was going to be fun. Just before reaching the creek, however, the lane veered off to the right, and lo and behold, there stood the old house in all of its glory. It had a large tin-covered porch along the side and another porch on the front that extended the full width of the house. Several window panes were missing and lay shattered on what few floorboards remained on the porch. The brick chimney had given up the ghost a long time ago, and now lay crumpled in a pile of bricks beside the house. The front door was standing open, and we took this as our invitation to explore inside. It was dark and musty inside, despite the missing windows. Old newspapers were plastered on the walls, and several corn cobs and shucks littered the floor, brought in by the squirrels for a quick meal. The floorboards creaked and moaned as we explored the dark rooms and closets. I had a weird feeling that I was being watched, but blamed it on my conscience. After all, we were trespassing. One closet door we managed to pry open revealed a set of rickety steps, and we quickly discovered they led to an upstairs room that overlooked the front porch roof. A lone window at the front provided enough light for us to see. A few pair of old work boots, a few corn cobs on the floor, and more old newspapers pasted to the walls. Other than that was about all there was to it. We were looking out the front window toward the creek when we heard the footsteps downstairs. Terry and I both looked at each other. We knew no one had followed us, and we were fairly certain no one had seen us go into the house. But we were trespassing in a sense, and we had nowhere to hide. We stood still, hoping whoever or whatever it was would go away. We could hear the footsteps as whoever it was walked through the house. All hopes of staying hid vanished when I heard the stairway door open and then footsteps coming up the steps. Suddenly, I didn't want to see who or what was coming upstairs. There were only two ways out, the window or the stairs. At this point, the stairs were not an option. Without even glancing toward the stairs, we raised the upstairs window, jumped out onto the tin porch, and slid down to the edge. The footsteps could be heard walking to the window as we made the last leap to freedom. We landed on our feet, luckily, and we literally hauled ass across the yard. I never looked back until we made it safely into the woods. Once there, we hid among the safety of the trees, and curiosity got the best of us, and we now wanted to know who emerged from the house. The front door was standing open, and we could see clearly in the front room. Suddenly, the front door slammed shut, and to this day I could not determine if it was slammed from the inside or by some unseen force standing on the porch. All I know is, after staring at that front door for several more minutes, Terry and I never witnessed anything come out of that door. It's all the proof I needed. We ran home and never went back. As I wrote this story, I caught myself wondering if the old house is still standing after all these years, or what or who that was that followed us into the house that day. I quickly decided two things. One, I really don't care, and two, I don't plan on finding out anytime soon. Some things are best left to the imagination. And that was my recollection of the old house at the end of the lane, and I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, if you don't mind, a like and a subscribe to my channel, Cryptid Critters Paranormal, and we'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening.